Michigan's primaries are happening earlier than they have in the past, and that means big changes for how the state GOP will choose who they want to be their nominee. Tonight, 13 on Your Side political reporter Josh Alburtus breaks down how this year will be different and how it could impact your vote.
And now, as we know, the official nominee of each party is not decided until delegates from all 50 states meet at a national convention to make that final decision. That'll happen for Republicans. That'll happen in July in Milwaukee, and in August that will happen for the Democratic Party in Chicago. And typically here in Michigan, each party decides how to spend our delegates through a statewide primary vote. But for Republicans, it is going to be a bit different this year. Let's take a look at why. February 27th is our new presidential primary date. That was moved up by the Democratic legislature here in Michigan, but that date broke with National Republican Party rules, so a deal had to be struck. Let's look at the broader context to kind of answer this question. In order to get the Republican presidential nomination, you have to have 1,215 delegates spread across the different states. Michigan, as part of this deal, as reported by our colleagues at ABC News, we will get 55 delegates to send to Milwaukee this summer and help choose that nominee. But how those delegates are going to be split, that is the question, and that is really the biggest part of this deal that was brokered. Let's take a look at how they are being split. 16 of our 55 delegates, that we will be sending to Milwaukee will be decided as usual by the results of that statewide primary, whereas 39, a much larger share, will be decided by that caucus, a convention, if you will, that will be held by the Republican Party here in early March. Now, one expert we spoke with said that the impact won't be as noticeable to voters in terms of this caucus, but in terms of the primary, it will look very similar to what we have usually expected in the past.
From a voter's perspective, it's still going to look like an election, and the best way to influence the process is simply to vote for your preferred candidate in the primary election on February 27th. But behind the scenes, there's going to be a multi-stage process whereby we translate those results and some other party activity to actual delegates at the national convention.
And Josh, how much of this depends on where the race stands when it comes to Michigan?
Well, really a lot. Whether this new process will really make a difference at all depends on what happens in New Hampshire tonight, where, as you said earlier, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley sees her best chance in the polls to pull out a surprise win and continue that challenge to the only other candidate in that race, former President Donald Trump. Juliet.
Josh.